Hello, welcome everybody to this first panel of Multichain Day. We are here with these great speakers and on the first panel of the day that is called Multichain dApps and Consumer Products. So we are going to start with quick introductions from all the attendants here and all the main speakers. So Blake, can we start?
Hi, I'm Blake Richardson, one of the co-founders of Superform. We're building a user-owned neobank. We allow you to earn yield, swap, and we have upcoming card products that will let you spend directly from your earning balance. We've been live now for about 3 years, and we're excited to be here.
Awesome. What's up, everyone? I'm Francisco. I'm leading developer relation at Consensus. That's the umbrella company of MetaMask, Infura, Linea. And I'm excited to be here. I'm arriving directly from Boulder. We had a crazy 2-3 days of ETH Boulder. And we decompressed and we are ready to speak about multi-chain and excited to have this panel today in this kind of transition to ETHDenver.
Hey everyone, I'm Aljaž from Empire. Empire is an EVM wallet that prioritizes user security. We try to support all the latest Ethereum tech, minimize third-party dependencies, and also focus a lot on privacy. The main platform at the moment is a browser extension. You can import EOAs, EOAs upgraded with EIP 7702, or pure smart accounts. Our core goals at the moment are privacy. We are proudly fork for the Kohaku initiative, so we intend to upstream primitives as they emerge. And we also would like to fix the interop on the wallet level as soon as possible.
Hello, I'm Wesso. I'm the lead developer at Beefy. Beefy is a 35 plus chain yield optimizer. We've been around for about 6 years and partnered with almost everybody in the industry.
Awesome. Thank you so much to all of you. I'm Juan and will be your mod in this case. I'm partnerships and growth lead at Chain Patrol. And in Chain Patrol, we're building a brand solution for companies that have threats and have fake profiles and fake social media scams and phishing websites. And we are working towards protecting those users against all of the different problems. So guys, we're going to start with the first question of this panel. We have started the year in a pretty complex scenario where we have Bitcoin trading below 70K as we speak. We can say that we're in a bear market right now, with a lot of different geopolitical issues and conflicts happening since the start of the year. So the first question I want to ask you all is if this complex environment has changed how you're currently planning your technical product roadmap and your general growth strategy.
I would say this panel is probably one of the best positioned for this type of market condition. Everybody here are building, real businesses with real revenue, and so this is likely not a large derivation in kind of business activities for most of us. So for us at Superform, that just means acquiring more users, focusing on things like growing revenue and expanding to new markets. I imagine almost everybody here will say roughly the same. Brief personal anecdote. Previously, I was an investor, and these markets come and go. So, not really overly worried about short-term declines when you focus on what actually matters, which is the core fundamentals of your business.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody saw it. We keep shipping, going more multi-chain. We advancing all our developer tooling and agent tooling because this economy is also will be built by not just humans but also agents. We have something called Smart Account Kits. Is enabling permissions and delegation for anybody, especially for agents. And I mean, on the consumer side, there is a lot of things, right? Embedding technology, successful technology from prediction market to other sub products. And so we keep kind of building for both sides.
Yeah, the market price-wise is definitely something that we'd like to see. But in terms of the direction and the goals at Empire, nothing has really changed. We're basically focused on making a great self-custodial wallet. We try to gather a lot of feedback from our core users, which are mainly DeFi power users. We try to do many user interviews, so one-on-one with users to understand what exactly are their needs. and just iterate upgrade by upgrade. But the silver lining is that gas prices are not okay, but adoption wise and shipping wise, I think that the industry is doing just okay and will definitely survive.
I mean, I kind of feel like DeFi has been in a bear market for like 3 years. So I think part of the problem was that the only real use case that came from DeFi was like token incentives. And so we had a few good applications like, on-chain lending and decentralized exchanges. But we really haven't seen it kind of take off. And I think it's really hard to experiment in this kind of market because it's hard to bootstrap. I think a lot of the token incentives and speculators, when DeFi was in sort of a boom, you can use token incentives and people were speculating on them and the values kept going up. And so you can onboard more users and you can get more, bootstrap your protocol easier. And I think really now it's really hard to start a fresh concept and to try something new because it's really hard to get people to just even try your protocol. And I think we're even seeing that on blockchains. Like there's a couple I thought that would be very interesting blockchains, Monad, Megi that just launched, and I feel like it's even there. We've kind of seen, I think, more of a lull than we thought. People weren't really even trying it, and so I'd really like us to see like an actual innovation in like actual DeFi, like bring some stuff that people are utilizing in traditional finance on chain, get more institutions in play. Like I think like the RWAs are very important. So as we see some of that, and then we start to get away from relying solely on speculative assets as like DeFi's core feature, then I think we'll be in a better position.
Nice. And on that regard, I'm curious to know because you mentioned like where is DeFi innovation, where we can find this, and there have been like a lot of wallets adding like different shields, native shields directly embedded into them. A lot of like shield protocols also adding like wallet features, and we have also seen things like, for example, Patchy Penguins launching like a card solution last week. So what do you think that is going to be the winner of this current cycle? Is going to be the everything app, the all-in-one app that can solve all the different problems for a user, or is going to be the one product, the one project, the one protocol that solves one problem? I would say almost perfectly, and then wants to solve like one specific problem, like let's say custody, shield, security, all of these different things. So, what do you think, guys?
For retail, I think it's going to be like more of a one-stop solution, something that makes it really easy. We have a whole bunch of infrastructure products that are pretending to be like front ends for retail, and it's very visibly like you can see that they're just not good to use, not easy to use, hard to understand. So I really think that like for years we've been talking about somebody needs to come in this space and make it like you don't have to teach, your kid could figure out to use it. Your grandma could figure out to use it, So if you really want to adapt to retail from that perspective, then like we need somebody to make everything a little bit easier. I think in general, even for somebody who's a little bit more advanced, understands maybe the blockchain space, it's still sort of a leap in order to use some of the DeFi protocols and to understand them. So I think that maybe infrastructure should be infrastructure and that somebody will come in with the expertise and build a front end.
I definitely think horizontal stack is the way to go. We've been always advocating for personalized experiences, but at the end of the day, people are looking for different experiences in the same stack, right? That's why like enabling different kind of like services, it's key, but also like providing these personalized journeys, right? People still wanna log in and have access to their self-custodial wallet, or they want to log in with SSO and social logins. They want to off-ramp, they have a MetaMask card directly in their wallet. They want to have cashback. They want to have direct access to DeFi. Providing personalized experience is key, but also like where we see consumer behavior is horizontal stack. There is no question about that. And also, like you mentioned, bootstrapping, is difficult to bootstrap. I don't super agree. I think it's very easy to bootstrap right now. What is missing here is that distribution. Like who is winning? Actually, who has distribution, or who is actually going where to the customer? Like we always assume in this industry that we are waiting for the customer. We need to educate customer to go in. When I'm saying customer, it could be also like agents in the future. Like we need to actually go where consumer are. So localized markets, personalized experiences, understanding what tech stack are people leveraging, and the stack is going horizontal.
I'd say that the broader competition is more like entrenched super apps or larger centralized financial super apps versus anything that's kind of occurring on chain today. I'd say that's kind of the broader, bigger competition for any sort of real user acquisition and yield. People like Robinhood are coming in, doing it obviously the old way on old rails, but they obviously have better distribution and user acquisition than most on chain businesses. So, like, I think that's really what the industry, regardless of what position you might be in, is really focused on. And then to Wes's point, like I think there's infrastructure will be infrastructure, and that's going to power things like potentially Robinhood, and then crypto native front ends and wallets will compete for kind of like the DeFi super app angle. But the broader competition isn't within crypto; it's outside of it.
You're seeing that with Coinbase though, right? Like Coinbase now you can deposit into Morpho, and you can like they're already sort of they have this interface, like they understand like Web 2 consumer, and now they're just making it easier for whatever they specifically want to do on base chain, but they're creating the opportunities and making it easy to deposit into these DeFi protocols.
Yeah, everybody's going to have to choose. Are you are you going to compete with Robinhood and $50 billion plus companies, or are you going to be infrastructure? I really think that's what's coming to in the next couple of years.
I think that there is no clear winner yet, and both the Everything app and what I really like to call the skinny wallet thesis. I think that people who are versed on chain and like DeFi power users, they will prefer to have a skinny wallet and just connect to apps and have like security super nicely handled. While on the other side, people who are completely new will probably better suited for an Everything app. They have everything integrated, like swaps, perps, prediction markets, and whatnot. So yeah, I think there is place for an Everything app and for wallets which are skinny. But we also see a trend of like browser extension wallets integrating perps and prediction markets. So I think there is no clear winner, and there is more than enough space for both solutions.
Yeah. I want to ask you, Francesco, you mentioned about like this idea of doing personalized experience over products. So what is like your current aim on that? Like what is the way that you're thinking personalized experience towards the users of your product and all the different things that you're doing on MetaMask, and also for you guys at the hub?
I mean, for a long time, we've always been advocating, MetaMask is your door to everything Web3, right? When you were kind of like willing to actually go DeFi, you have very specialized kind of like experience on that. And I mean, the same is happening right now, right? People just want to handle prediction markets. They just want to go on DEX to swap. They want to have one swap action. They want to log in without have anything to do with like secret key phrase, right? So this is what I'm saying. There are people even like, and we see different markets have different needs, right? Especially on the off-ramping side. People don't touch like big distributors. And if you're living in those areas, you really understand what I'm talking about, right? And the fact that, for example, we are still speaking about like, oh, there are like 200 cards. Yes, there are 200 cards, but which card are you actually able to put some USDC on a random chain and off-ramp directly? Like, if you're looking right now, how is the world moving? I think we are in a very kind of like biased kind of like region. When I'm speaking about personalized experiences, is also you need to also understand the local market, local culture, and customize the experience for that. I think this is super important. And customized experience is also like what type of things you want to do on a self-custodial wallet, right? There are people just using for specific experiences, right? People just want to do perps. And, why I'm saying horizontal stack is just the customer behavior, because people like to have everything in the same place and doing less step as possible. When I entered the space, I was happy to actually like have this friction and align with Web3 value. But the next billion people or agents that are coming in this economy, they are looking for frictionless onboarding, frictionless offboarding, and frictionless experiences. So it's very interesting, right? Because we're always saying like, oh, super dApp versus one single dApp. And it's very tricky because market and innovation are not super correlated, and people are always choosing the easiest way to do things. And a lot of people, this is also an assumption, a lot of people are happy to pay for a premium service. And it's something that, personally, I'm, for example, not I was not agreeing for a long time, but then I'm also now going in some specific services. I'm just staying there because I don't want to kind of go right and left, right, and open new kind of hacking endpoints or something. Yeah.
Nice. We're going to go to the next question. So we have seen a lot of chain abstraction narrative over the last couple months and over the years. And I think that we have seen some improvements on these. I think, well, the MetaMask integration that you did with Tron is a good example of that. But still, there is a long way to go, I think. So I'm going to ask you, what is the biggest tax you're currently paying whenever you're trying to integrate a new chain or go to integrate a new ecosystem itself? What are the different things that you consider there?
I think on the wallet side, it really depends on how you would like to support the chain. If just a NeoWay, then it's not that big of an issue. If it's 7702, then there is a bit more of work. For smart accounts, for example, in Empire, when there is a new chain, a user can deploy the whole stack basically with the NeoWay. So there is not a lot of overhead in supporting new chains. But yeah, on the interop side, we know that chain abstraction has been discussed for a very long time. And still on the wallet side, it's not really super visible. Yeah, we can go from chain to chain much easier than a couple of years ago, but still people need to manage bridging and stuff, which is not really optimal. So there are a lot of initiatives the new Ethereum interop layer and OAL and whatnot. So we need to make sure that I think that the real chain abstraction will happen when a user does not care if his ETH or USDC is on which chain. User just signs the transaction and that's it.
Superform is relatively chain abstracted today, and we've actually received pushback from our users from being too abstracted, which I know might be different than other people's experience. But if you go to the Superform app now, we use 1 inch and across to basically abstract your deposit, and you can go from whatever asset you have into those vaults. But a lot of times people come to say, well, I don't want to pay fees on some other chain because then I have an approval on another chain. Or then they'll say, I actually do want to know that my assets are on Ethereum, not Base, for example. And we do see different user behavior that doesn't necessarily result in a monolith of chain abstraction working. That's been really fascinating to see. I think the kind of next, let's say, billion users will not necessarily have that, but the on-chain community maybe likes it a little bit less than they say they do, because they have a lot of different opinions about that. From a technical tax perspective, to answer your question, the infrastructure to create chain abstraction isn't as easy as people say. So we're kind of limited by the desired UX we have. So we want to maintain a high degree of transaction certainty when somebody submits, it actually works. Because of that, we have things like Tenderly for transaction simulations and swappers for swapping tokens, and those don't exist on every chain. So new exciting chains come out, but they don't necessarily support all of the infrastructure that's needed. And that's, there's a variety of issues to be able to actually expand quickly in a multi-chain environment, which has forced us to be a little bit more selective. And we're only on 8 instead of, 20, which was what we'd want to be. And that's because that end user experience needs to be maintained.
But at least more protocols don't make you switch chains just to see the data on the other chain, which is something very annoying. It's such a basic thing. But I think chain abstraction is a very difficult thing, especially for Beefy. It was for us to figure out because just going from one token to another, you kind of have to have a centralized token that you want to use. So let's say it's ETH or USDC or something like that, and then go to that one, then use a messaging protocol or a relaying protocol and figure out how you're going to get the exit and then have to execute on the other side. So the technicality of it is a lot more complicated than people realize. It's probably easier to solve maybe on the wallet level, but it could also be solved on the actual product level. So, the USDC can enter interest on, 7 different chains, but why do you have to go chase each opportunity to move that USDC? Maybe the actual technical product that you're depositing into can handle that as an aggregation. And even that has its layers of complexity and security risks and all that associated with it. So it became a very difficult thing to create in a really good way, in a decentralized way. So, I mean, those are the reasons why it really hasn't progressed along. But the tooling is getting better, and we're seeing more infrastructure come out that makes it a little bit easier. So, I'm pretty positive we'll have some pretty good advancements the next year on it.
Yeah, I agree what you're saying, Viso, on on the multi-chain approach. One thing that I'm seeing a lot is yes, for example, we are now native on Tron, on Solana. What I'm seeing a lot is the ecosystem of dApps, like providing the tooling to actually get fully kind of EVM. For example, like we have a native MetaMask SDK with like full telemetry. We have embedded wallets that need to be aligned. So this also dApps and constellation of a company in the non-EVM ecosystem need to be also satisfied, right? And I feel a lot of like companies kind of like going multi-chain without actually thinking how we satisfy also those builders and founders to kind of like provide different experiences. So that's
Nice. Another question, more regarding like security right now. We have seen like a lot of the apps and wallets moving towards like new permissioning standards, for example, enabling safer approvals, smarter delegation, and so on. So how is security right now, and is this something that you currently have in your scope, becoming part of your user experience in general?
Security is really annoying to me because I feel like it's a lot of new protocols take it so low. And it's like the most important base need you can have as a developer is to make sure that whatever you're doing is like obviously done in the most secure way. And every protocol you're interacting with, you know exactly how you're interacting with it. And it gets, third party audits done on it. And we just keep seeing in the news like more and more hacks. And I mean, a lot of these like issues are just like really basic things. Like people are just, I don't understand. They don't learn from the past. Or they just keep rehashing the same mistakes over and over again. And like it's usually Oracle issues or, um, you know, things that should have permission structure in them, like functions. And they don't have that or they're missing it, and things that can easily be identified. And so I think it's really hard to take our industry seriously when people can't take security seriously. Um, it's something we focused on for like a long time at Beefy, and so we actually just done a DAO proposal to work with Nexus and OpenCover and offer some base level of like smart contract insurance as a depositor. So essentially, when you deposit in a Beefy vault, not only do you have to trust the contracts or that we had them audited and all that kind of stuff, but instead we'll say, hey, like you at least have some base level of coverage. So when you deposit it, and you can have that assurance that, hey, if you deposit into us and it goes into another protocol and something issue happens, that you do have like some sort of ramification from that. You can go and claim your coverage from opens up and stuff like that.
I think that has to be the answer. It has to be insurance on these smart contracts. Like, kind of historically, nobody's wanted to underwrite that risk on smart contracts, maybe for good reason. But I think as the industry matures and specific products mature, insurance companies will be more willing to underwrite like specific companies or smart contracts as they gain scale, and that will reduce the overall cost to insure, and we'll start to see, you know, real meaningful user protection. Obviously, the smart contract side is essential, and that requires people to follow best practices. But like as you said, some people just don't. I think it's kind of on the project to kind of go down the path of providing some form of like insurance to their users, either that they can purchase or through OpenCover and Nexus. But yeah, that's going to have to be like the future of protecting consumers.
It's just really expensive. And so when revenue is already like really thin, it's really hard to like put that in there, or you're trying to compete, right? And you have competitors, and so hey, let's like maybe like raise our fees and then we'll subsidize it that way. But then obviously now you're more expensive than the competitor, so you have to really sort of deliver on the marketing side of that. But yeah, it's a necessity. Like you obviously you should be thinking security one, and all the partner protocols that you partner with, you should be like at least soft auditing and making sure they're taking things seriously. But there I think we have to have like an innovation level of like, hey, we're all human things. People can make mistakes. Maybe there is some sort of like base insurance coverage that people can underwrite and take care of your users.
And TradFi and kind of centralized financial institutions aren't perfect either. They just rely on insurance, right? Like some of the biggest recent hacks are actually not from on-chain companies. They're from people that operate off-chain or, in crypto, but are centralized.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to security in terms of users, we should definitely prioritize security by design. For example, when you mentioned approvals and permissions, like why should a user need to understand the whole curve of like approvals? We should just abstract them right away. And we have all the tools ready. Like Pectra is like almost a year since now, and we still see most of the apps asking for unlimited approvals. Like why? And I think that since 21, some stats on Revoke Cash said that like almost a billion went down the drain because of that. So I really think that wherever possible, we should definitely prioritize security by design and not by education.
It's the same things that with sign-ins, right? Like we are talking for a long time for like batch transaction, how we, and I think like it's very interesting. Like the 772 is coming, a bunch of kind of like new AAPs are on the way. I mean, I think this is another angle, but I'm definitely concerned about agent security. It's like, and I think there is not a lot of instruments out there, and I think like permissions, caveats, is the only true kind of like use case that will be at the same level of like even a stablecoin use case for true consumers. Because without actually enabling permissions and delegating access to do whatever use case we want to do, think about account recovery, think about batch transaction, think about anything on this level, it would be hard to have agents executing any transaction with true trust, right? But I think we have all the pieces, right? A004 with the entire kind of like reputation and trust is coming. You have the entire like permissions and delegation kit. They're already out there for agents, but it's still like crazy to think about that you can prompt engineer on Twitter some agents that will just give you like your private key, right?
Nice. We're approaching the end of this panel. So right now, it's moment for the hot takes. So Blake, do you want to kick us off?
After what we discussed, I don't think this is too hot of take, but users aren't ideological. They don't care about our permissionlessness really at the end of the day. They care that they're making money and that they're secure. And if we don't deliver on that as an industry, we're going nowhere.
How hot. We are live streaming here. So I don't know. I would say in 6 months, 50% of our consumer will be agents.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to the previous point. I think that we should use the tech that is there, especially in terms of 7702. Adoption has not been great. So yeah, I think that we just need to use all the tools that we have, and that's it.
I guess I believe DeFi will die unless unless we move away from just focusing on speculation and we instead have delivered like more killer use cases on chain.
Nice. From my side, I will add that I would say crypto and like growth strategies without like a security strategy in place is like a liability. And it's really important to set up, I would say, your strategy, because as you grow, you will have like more scammers targeting your brand. You will have like a lot of bad actors trying to get advantage of all of that. So it's really important to take action across that because those users eventually will churn if you don't take care of them, if you don't take the trust and safety net really seriously. So you can think security as like a way to do compounding growth, because if a user is going to trust your protocol, they will stay there. If a user suffers like a big problem, suffers a big issue, they will probably leave. And if they leave, probably the TVL and the monthly active users that you're trying to get probably won't be where you want it to be. I want all of you guys to mention like one product launch, update, anything that makes you exciting that happened over the last few months, or you're about to ship it right now. So whatever makes you exciting about this moment of your project, this is the time to speak.
Superform just launched our mobile app in the United States, Canada, France, Germany, Australia, and more soon. The goal, back to the original question, is to be that super app and compete there. Our earn products is kind of the basis of that, earn the best yield, but we'll be launching a swap tab and a credit card soon.
Yeah, don't want to shield, but if you're a developer here, check out the Smart Account Kit and build some use case around delegation and permissions.
Yeah, I recently got super excited when I heard that Grid Plus was the first hardware wallet that actually ships support for 7702. Trezor will follow. I'm not sure about Ledger, but for the future, I am super excited about having support for safe accounts in Empire.
So the first time I'm mentioning this, but Beefy should soon have vault to vault cross-chain zapping, so sort of chain abstracted in the next few months. So feel free to come and try that once it's live.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all to the great speakers, and thank you all to the public for hearing us out.